Right.
And it used to be called EAT, which was EAT, which was expertise, authority, trust, and they added an extra E for experience. So you have to show experiences. So there's an experience of me and the top guy in the fitness industry, not fitness professionals, but he knows all the people that run 24-hour fitness and make the weights and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we're having dinner, and real experience of me teaching this content factory thing and actually doing it. I'm not just talking about it, I've actually done it. And there's a lot of proof on how we've done it. The stuff we've done for all kinds of local service businesses, being on TV, hiring VAs. There's a lot of actual proof. All right. So is it Spencer or Thomas? Who are we talking to?
I go by Thomas, I guess, in the business professional world, but friends call me Spencer, so just call me Spencer.
All right, Spencer. Do we get to see you?
I don't have a cam here, and I left my MacBook at work. His transmission went out, brand new van.
Okay.
Don't ever buy Dodge. I had to go pick him up. I left all my MacBooks and everything at the office, and I come home. So,
but you can see us, right? You can see the screen?
I can see you guys. Yes. Yep.
All right. You should update your Facebook.
Yeah,
all
I know.
This other information.
I know I need to.
Okay, so real quick, your new site, as you know, has issues not only with how it's organized, which violates basic Google standards. And I love Jonathan Bannister. You can watch all of the private coaching that I've given him. There's hours and hours of it.
Yeah.
To help him with his agency, I love him to death, love his VAs, but
yeah.
We just need to get the results, right? So
right.
It doesn't rank on anything, not because it's new, but because the location service pages don't have actual experience and expertise, and it's all stock art. These aren't your pictures and things like that. Right. And the previous site has the same issue as well.
Right.
So here, I kind of like the fact that it's got your name, even though people might think Gardners are Gardners as opposed to the last name Gardner, right?
Exactly right.
But you have the same issue here where there's no trust coming in and therefore doesn't rank on anything. So there is no SEO value except what you might get out of your reviews on your Google My Business. That's the only thing that's helping you. Your website is invisible. Doesn't matter whether you switch to a new website. A website will not change anything for you.
Right.
No matter how much money you paid, no matter how good these other people are, it's been zero forever. Right? Zero. Yeah. This should be like 20. It's basically 1, which is 0.
Right.
You can have all the blogs in the world. You can add so many pages. It doesn't matter because you're violating the fundamentals that Google has published, which is people want to argue with me, but dude, it's like the fat person arguing with the scale. Why would you want to do that?
Right.
But
and that's mainly because of stock photos.
Well, Google has these guidelines that I'll show you the original one. They announced it. They said that you want to create helpful, reliable content, and they have a whole guide, which is 170 pages, explaining why it needs to be EEAT. And so this SEO, this is Google's site. This is not me. You see this?
Yeah.
Google's own SEO guide. And this is the quality raters guidelines that are updated every year that shows that basically you need to show real. Yeah. So for fun, I said, I love to eat. Right. And just like we were talking earlier, we're talking about, the Yum Center and Colonel Sanders, and off of my Google Photos, the AI in Google is automatically pulling that I'm hanging out with Dr. Karen Freeberg, who I'm in her book on social media marketing. And we're doing stuff in Louisville, and we're hanging out with the Colonel Sanders. It's in the airport. You've probably seen this one, right?
Yeah.
And Muhammad Ali, and playing basketball, and doing stuff with Daryl, right? All this stuff with Daryl. There's so many videos of me and Daryl talking about all kinds of stuff, right? Daryl doing Daryl. And then this 21C, like we talked about. They have this weird room in the 21C that is hard to rent, but I was able to get.
Yeah.
You know about that? It's like weird, like art, this weird art room. Have you seen this?
No, I've actually never been to the 21C. I know it's a very common thing here, but I've actually never
They
been.
have the best soaps and shampoos. I literally will
Really?
go there, and if I see the maid, I'm like, hey, can you give me a few more of these
Let me take
soaps and
some of those
shampoos?
with me.
But clearly there's proof.
Right.
And like I interviewed Dr. Karen Freeberg on her book. She's the number one professor teaching PR and social media among all the
Hmm.
other professors. And I'm interviewing her, and there's clear proof of that. And it
Right.
shows that I'm with her, right? Dr. Karen Freeberg.
Hmm.
So there's that. And then, Daryl's got socks. I gave him a pair of socks. You-
Hey, Dennis, love the socks, love the note. Yes, I can't wait to get that hammer on digital marketing. I'm doing a video because I know you'd want me to record my own. Can't wait to see you in Vegas.
So I could use the AI to write an article about Vegas, about Daryl, about Louisville, about the Bat, about Woodford Reserve, or about the last time I saw Daryl, he pulled out this bourbon that's really expensive.
Hmm. Blanton's maybe?
No, it wasn't Blanton's. I've had Blanton's. What's the other one?
Pappy's? Pappy Van
Pappy's.
Winkle?
Yeah, Pappy Van Winkle. So we
Yeah.
had we each had a shot of Pappy Van Winkle
Yeah.
and all that. But anyway,
Nice
you can
bottle.
see like look, there's all this Brown Foreman stuff, right? And then
Mhm.
Bellarmine and like this is a thing they have there at Brown Foreman, right?
Yeah.
Showing all this stuff. And you can see here it is in Louisville. So I have the raw ingredients to then be able to write content, videos, social media snippets, any kind of derivative content about any of the topics that I actually have real experience.
Yeah.
So then what we could do is we could look at any one of these web pages on the new site, on the previous site, doesn't matter, whatever. Plumbing remodels, we'll just say, I don't care. Sewer installation, doesn't matter. We choose any one of these pages, right?
Hmm.
And let's just say, you know, is there one you want to look at? I don't really care. They all are going to give you the same result.
We could just do like water heaters or something. I feel like it's a
Water heaters,
common.
all right. Cool. So then we're looking at water heaters. So this is your service page because you're a local service business. So you're going to have location service pages, right? So then I'll
Hmm.
copy this and you know how to use ChatGPT and all the cool stuff. ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I study
we'll,
AI.
we'll come to our article grader and I'll say grade this article for my friend Spencer, who owns this plumbing company in Louisville. I think it's so
Louisville. You had it
Louisville.
right.
No,
Yeah.
I know, and I just like saying it the wrong way just to
Right.
irritate people, right?
But some people say Louisville.
With EAT and PAA. Okay, we already know the answer. So the AI, because it knows what Google's guidelines are, because we fed them in, is going to say like, okay, well, you sort of have this and you mention a little bit of stuff, but really you don't show much of this. You're not showing any real experience before and afters. Who are the plumbers, show different parts of Louisville where you're working on water heaters and you don't
Hmm.
answer these questions. What's it cost? And, how long you've been doing it. And
Hmm.
you're not linking between these other pages. And so it's very polite by saying like, yeah, good job. You get a medal. Like all the kids get the medal, right?
Right.
But would you like me to restructure this content? Yes. And include placeholders for us to insert experience, real information, etc. Okay?
Hmm.
And so literally in a few minutes, you could fix your entire site. And I've taught Jonathan how to do this. It's recorded, right? So why should you work with Golden Plumbing in Louisville? Because of these things. Now you have to insert these placeholders.
Hmm.
Take some of our favorite reviews. Last month we helped, Jennifer, and this was what happened with her water heater, right?
Hmm.
And it was out of warranty. And, this is what, but thank goodness we got it before, it blew up or something like that, right? Or
Right.
all these things, right? And you could say, it's so cool that Sam, one of the technicians, came out because she lives, just outside of downtown next to the Yum Center. I don't know, like whatever is like things that show that you're actually Like, imagine, Spencer, you were meeting somebody. Could you not immediately tell if they're from Louisville or if they've been to Louisville before? Could you not immediately tell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well then if I look at this thing here and I'm Google, is there anything here that shows me that you actually know how to fix water heaters and have experience doing water heaters? Or is this something I could just have the AI generate like this?
Yeah, it looks more AI generated than
All
anything.
this stuff like this, is this actually one of your pictures?
No, now I will be fair here. Most of the photo issues is on me just because I don't have the truck wraps done. I do have uniforms and stuff, but the photos, the stock photos, is my fault. I will say that.
Well, the photos are just one of many things. This
Mm-hmm.
entire site is just AstroTurf.
Mm-hmm.
It has no, it doesn't honor, and we're giving you tough love.
Yeah.
It doesn't honor EEAT. And
Yeah.
this is what Google clearly says. And we look up Spencer Gardner. There's 32 Spencer Gardners. We don't know which Spencer Gardner. You know, this other Spencer Gardner's ahead of you, right?
Huh, that's interesting.
And there could be other Gardners. Like, look, confidence score 138, which is ahead of all these other ones. And
with the SEO, back to the website.
yeah.
So all of this showing that, hey, this is like an actual real company in Louisville. That's what's going to help rank higher. I mean, the reviews help a little bit, but
it has nothing to do
more.
with technical expertise of somebody who lives in Dallas but has never been to Louisville, knows nothing about Louisville, knows nothing about plumbers, but could be a good salesperson and talks a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Google wants to know that you actually are a real plumber and you do these particular services in Louisville. You factually do not satisfy these requirements that Google has made clear. Because I could use the AI and actually create a better thing on water tank heaters. And so I could literally say, okay, great, there's this. And I'll say, what other PAA should we answer? And then I can make a competing website. Yours is called Golden Plumbing. I'll create Platinum Plumbing. Right. And I'll just make better pages and I will outrank you. Because I have other plumbers that are friends. People also ask.
Gotcha.
So if I'm looking for Jeffersonville water heater repair or water heater near me, just, whatever, right? Then there's the local service ads, of course. There's, the Google, typically a Google 3-pack. But then there's PAA. People also ask. Obviously, the first question is, what's it cost? Who you call, and can they come out right away? And are they reliable? And
right.
And so these guys, Thomas Galbraith or whoever these other people are, this plumbing company is answering the question. So if you want to win on this keyword, which it's pretty easy to win on because it's a super long specific term, you just have to answer the related questions so you can win on the overall question. You see how Google says, if you want to rank here, you have to answer these ones too. Yeah. Because Google already knows, Google has all the data. So just Google's telling us what we have to do.
Right.
But other people, oh no, I hired this guy and he's an SEO expert. I'm a plumber and I don't really understand this whole SEO thing. No, you understand better than anybody because you actually can answer the questions.
Right.
The life expectancy of a water heater, I don't know. Right? And this Oliver heating and cooling guy has got the answer that Google pulled as authoritative. So I imagine you've got a lot of plumber friends that are in other cities, right?
Yeah.
You go to like these plumbing conferences, like Roger Wakefield and these sorts of people, right?
Yeah, I've heard of Roger.
Yeah. So if you are friends with these other plumbers and you're trying to prove to Google that you are credible as a plumber in Louisville, A, you have to show connections with other plumbers, and B, you have to show that you do stuff in Louisville. You have to show both. You're a plumber in Louisville, right?
Right.
So what I would do is I would just interview these other people in like a 5-minute Zoom call and show and just like link to them or talk about their stuff. And you could see, Roger and I have a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I could even go to, because he's now become a YouTuber. So we go to video, right? And so we have this. So, the person, this is the thing that we are trying to convince people in the trades. Because their number one reaction is, oh, no, this is, I'm going to focus on being an electrician or a roofer or whatever. I don't want to, this whole website
Right.
thing and AI is not me and I'm 50 years old and, this is for, okay, you're trying to show Google that you are legitimate when it comes to plumbing. So if you guys are like, how many vans do you have?
4.
Okay. So your guys are going out and about and they're doing their stuff and they can take little 15-second videos, take little pictures. You can pay them to get reviews, when the jobs are
Yeah.
done. Pay them
Hmm.
10. That's not against Google's guidelines. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you incentivize them to do that, put it all in the drive here so that every part of town, you've got people that are doing these different jobs and all across Kentucky, right? And now you have the material that you can stick inside your local service pages, showing
Hmm.
the water heater repairs and all the different things that are happening. I've got a ton of stuff here in Kentucky, right? There I'm at the in the locker room and hanging out with the coach and the players, and because Daryl Isaacs is kind of the boss when it comes, he gets the super special treatment, right?
Right.
But if you have proof of this and your guys are gathering proof of this, then
Hmm.
that is the information that then needs to make its way into Facebook and your Google business profile and your website and your LinkedIn and like all of them, right?
Yeah. And does it matter? Like, so we do get photos on all the jobs. So I could pull photos for all of these servers before and afters and things like that.
Oh,
Does
before and
it?
afters are the best ones to include.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
we do that. Does it matter the quality of the photo that's taken?
What do you think?
I would imagine it matters more not having the photos in there and using stock photos than having the quality not be as good.
Right. Because what does Google care about?
Just expertise, real experiences.
Because of EEAT, as they've said,
Right.
right? And let me find, let's see if I can find the E to eat. Find the one that, yeah, here, this one. You can see I've been here many times. But they released this before, they intentionally released this right before ChatGPT launched. They knew this
Hmm.
because they said it used to be called Eat, but then we added an extra E because they want to see, do you actually do the thing that you say that you do? Are you actually fixing toilets and water heaters and sump pumps and all that, right? Because
Hmm.
the situations where you value most is content produced by someone who has firsthand experience on the topic.
Right.
So show the person actually in the field doing the thing.
Hmm. That makes sense because the searcher is a client of Google as well. So if Google can provide their client a good experience, it's better for the search engine.
But now just to double check to make sure we're on the same page, Spencer, why do you think before, because Google knew all this AI generated nonsense was going to just flood the internet. Why do you think Google wrote this blog post saying you really need this? You need to actually show experience.
I- Why they wrote it?
Why did they put this out here? Why are they issuing this warning?
So to say you will be penalized if you if you're using just AI or not real experiences. This is how
Yeah.
we're gonna use. This is how the algorithm is gonna judge things. Pretty much, we're gonna
Yeah.
give you this.
And is this some like technical thing that you have to be an engineer like me or work at the search engines like I did or whatever to understand?
No, not at all.
That's what Google's trying to say in plain English.
Hmm.
Oh, but the Google algorithm's so complicated and changes all the time. And you wouldn't, it's like you wouldn't want to try to like wire up your own electrical cabinet or whatever. Like uh, that analogy does that whole like heart surgeon, electrician, that analogy doesn't apply here when it becomes Googleable because
Right.
the Google algorithm is just as you basically, I'm going to rephrase what you said, is just representing what the actual users are looking for. And Google has so much data, it's now like trying to lie to the lie detector.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So if you want to win, I mean, you reached out to us, you want to know what about the website and what you need to do to make the phone ring for your crews because you don't want your crews sitting around with nothing or I'm sure you want to expand so then if you get more jobs you can have more vans.
Hmm.
You have to show up. But
Yeah.
my hope is by showing you this very plainly, no fancy acronyms or industry jargon, you see exactly what has to happen to win in Google. And
Yeah.
if you win in this way, which is the legitimate way to do things, guess what? Your LSA will win too, because your LSA
Yeah.
is now increasingly based on your Google business profile.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So why would you pay any money for anyone to do any of this?
Right.
That's not
Yeah.
something that's very popular, but I coach a lot of agencies and they see where this thing is going. This game is
Mhm.
not going to last very long.
No, I agree with you there. I think a lot of people are going to jump into AI agencies very soon.
Because the AI is doing all of it.
Yeah.
Why would you pay an agency $3,000 a month when I mean, why do you think our buddy sold, why did Lance sell one SEO?
Right.
I had a
Yeah.
call with him last month.
Yeah.
It's actually recorded in a Zoom, and he basically said, because this game is over, buy these roofing companies instead, right?
Yeah.
And all these guys know this. Well, not all of them, but whatever.
Yeah.
The Uber drivers are going to be out of business. The cars are going to start driving themselves. So if
Yeah.
you're an Uber driver, they don't realize this change is coming. Their job is about to get destroyed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Same for these digital agencies. I don't know why these people are still, because there's enough people that have made enough money. They think there's still enough time left on this clock. Maybe for a couple more years.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's one thing. I study AI and like actually how LLMs work and, NVIDIA, how they're making all this possible and things like that. The technical side as well as the practical side of it. And yeah, you're
So why don't
exactly
why don't
right.
you just use it? Why don't you take it in house, own your stuff, control your future? Not because you're trying to save money, but because you want it done right. And I love all these other people that run digital marketing agencies. I teach in Josh Nelson's group. You name all these other people, we teach in their groups, right?
Hmm.
But what you see here, you know more about digital marketing than they do,
Hmm.
which is wild, right?
Yeah.
Because you've gotten in to understand like what these LLMs do. And I showed you I didn't just talk about it. I showed you how to generate the content using the LLMs
Right.
where you can feed in your stuff. You see here that you can, here, I'll just share my screen again. So Spencer, you can literally take, if you put all this stuff here and it's all categorized properly, right?
Hmm.
And then here with ChatGPT, you realize you can connect in other
Your
stuff to give
drive.
it the
Yeah.
ingredients,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you have the ingredients, which you do, but maybe they're like not organized, or maybe it's, in folders all over the place, they're stuck on people's cell phones or Zoom calls or YouTube videos or like, if you
It's
can
all
just
on Service Titan.
okay, Service Titan, great. Then freaking, I've asked Brian Eisenberg and some of these other people that work with Service Titan on their APIs and all this, like,
Hmm.
because Service Titan is, of course, buying all these other companies because they're trying to,
Right.
go public and
Their
be the new
IPO's
gorilla.
public. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're doing everything possible to try to make themselves the Microsoft Office of this whole thing, right?
Yep.
And I've told these guys, you need to put the AI brain in here and then take all
Hmm.
those photos, videos, reviews, images, all this as these guys do the service calls and schedule and all the stuff you already have in the captive base. I didn't
Hmm.
even realize they're like a $4 billion company or something huge like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that creates way more value for your existing base of home service businesses.
Yep.
And then people don't have to use like 20 pieces of software to try to run their
Yeah.
business.
That's exactly what I study in AI actually is agentic workflow. So like
Yeah.
relevance AIs that make is like
Oh
key
yeah, yeah,
focus.
yeah. And then Airtable and all the different
Yeah.
APIs. You
Yeah.
could Zapier your way there if you don't know how to use
Yeah.
APIs. But as you know, LLMs can write the code for you now, right?
Yep. Yep. It's getting to a super intelligence where it can actually program itself. It can feed itself the information it needs to know. So
So why don't
um,
you be the plumber, Spencer, that shows all the other plumbers that you don't have to be held hostage or in the dark with all these digital marketing experts, social media people?
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. That's kind of why I'm seeking help. And I don't know if you've seen the post. I actually talked to Jim Leslie, Tommy's CTO,
Okay,
about
yeah,
this. But
yeah,
um, for me, I'm only 2 years in business.
yeah.
We had 196% growth last year. Um, More focused on profitability this year, but
Right.
we're rebranding, and because of that, I'm really trying to figure out how do we take this retail market? How do we get market share here? I want to get away from home warranty, which we kind of started out with,
Right.
and property
Right.
management and things like that, and just go retail where we can provide the best service, the most value to the Louisville community. And I'm figuring like
Yeah.
what should the strategy be? What is the strategy
You
when
already
it
know
comes?
what everyone else is. You know what Tommy has done.
Yeah,
Get your face out there. You know what Daryl's doing.
yeah, personal
Tommy's
branding.
done. Yeah, yeah. Tommy's done some stuff that you probably don't want to do today, like make fake GMBs and that sort of thing. But
Mhm.
renting offices, the
Yes, cheap
cheapest little
ones.
offices, just so you
Yep.
can literally. I'm not saying cheat Google, but I mean meet the criteria of Google
Yeah,
storefront.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yep.
have your people collect the reviews,
Yep.
repurpose that content, connect with all the other plumbers, connect with the Tommies of the world, even though they're in home services. Like I would be interviewing every other plumber on like what they're doing and like elevating them, talking about them, not about us, just
Hmm.
so that I can show Google, hey, I am a Roger Wakefield of this thing, right?
Right. Yeah. And when
As
you
long as they're not a
say,
plumber in Louisville, then who
right,
cares? Yeah.
so doing just like podcast over the internet or something like that,
Zoom
can,
calls like this.
yeah,
Because you can turn that into a podcast and like you understand like all you need to do is declare you have a podcast, and as long as you have a Zoom account, you're good,
yeah,
right?
just take the audio. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a Podbean or any of these other tools to like distribute it to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You don't need to do any
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Would that be something you recommend uploading to the website? Just talking about strictly plumbing talk?
Those would be blog posts
Yeah.
because the
Okay. So
website, everything on the
transcribe it.
website is showing the intersection of plumbing and location, right? So different categories within plumbing, like all those services, and then things in Louisville. You sit at
Hmm.
that X.
Yeah.
But in order to build huge authority on this X, you understand what I mean? Like here's all the plumbing stuff, right? And then
Yep.
here's like Louisville. And so there's all the businesses within Louisville, anything Louisville related, right?
Hmm.
And then anything plumbing related, which can be any city, anything in Louisville, but can be any category, right? So you understand what I mean
Hmm.
by like drawing this cross, right?
Yeah. 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 Makes
So
sense.
if
Intersection points.
you really like, I don't know, Daryl Isaacs and the Hammer, then and he's already ranking very strong. Google already knows that he's Louisville, even though he's got offices all over in Indiana and whatnot. But Louisville, like
Right.
Kentucky's like the main thing he has.
Right.
Then like talking, like leaving a review on his site, or you know what, interview the Hammer. Say, hey, Hammer, I would love to interview you for 5 minutes on my podcast, right? Or
Hmm.
10 minutes. I'll stop by one of your offices. You let me know when. I'll be in and out in 10 minutes because I really love the Hammer. And I love how you tell your stories. And you had your traumatic brain injury, and you've
Yeah.
overcome this. And you're such a nice person, and you learn from your father. And you donate so much to help these charities, and you're giving away gifts during Christmas. And all this.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
I love how you are such a humble guy, and I'd love to just interview you and share your wisdom for 10 minutes on my podcast.
Yeah.
Think he'd say yes?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
feel like, yeah, you wouldn't get much pushback. And I have some local authority figures here that, like, for instance, there's a small franchise here who's trying to go national.
Yeah.
I know the owner very, very well.
Yeah.
They got over 12 stores.
Anyone who has a signal in plumbing, just not in Louisville, and anyone has a
Hmm.
signal in Louisville,
Louisville.
but not the other way, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, all the people in Louisville, they could, I don't care how many locations they own. It could be the mayor, it could be the little league coach, it could, like anybody in Louisville, because you're trying to establish the signal of Louisville. You understand your new website, even though I'm sure it's like new branding and whatever, doesn't contain any authentic signals. It's like
Right.
freaking Tang has like no orange juice in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of
Your
sense.
website is Tang.
Yeah. And is that like pretty much backlinks, right? That you're creating backlinks for the website almost, or no?
Backlinks are like a subset of overall citations and authority. So it doesn't
Gotcha.
have to be, I mean, obviously a legit backlink with the right anchor text and like being on topic and all like, yes, but literally just a mention or a
Hmm.
review or someone making a video about the thing or even
Hmm.
just having an article which even doesn't necessarily have to have a link still passes authority.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
just doesn't pass link juice according to the SEO tools. But remember,
Right.
Google doesn't go by the domain rating of Ahrefs or SEMrush. Google
Right.
Google goes by its own authority ranking, and these
Hmm.
other SEO tools are trying to approximate what they think Google's doing. But obviously, Google, with their computation power and brains, is just way smarter. So just
Yeah.
because I have some sites that are DR70 plus, that doesn't mean that any article I write from one of my sites is going to pass DR70. It will
Hmm.
according to the SEO tools, but Google's smarter than that, right?
Right. And that's that because I'm not fully sure the technical jargon, but mainly like sites that will pass that DR70 is national sites, right? Like maybe like a McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
And
But
I
even
just,
if you have, even if like you're interviewing a franchisee who
mhm.
owns a couple locations of whatever and they blog about it or you blog about or link to them, that still shows relevancy. It still shows Google's just trying to see is there a connection. Obviously, a link is a stronger vote, especially a do
Yeah,
follow link, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It's funny because I really actually always wanted to start a podcast because I have so many connections to a lot of business people. Like I know the person who owns all the Zaxby's
Oh,
in
I love
Louisville.
Zaxby's.
Yeah, so like I have some good connections here.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to do, and also it helps me with my actual mission of helping others, right? So like I want to focus more on the start of entrepreneurship for
Uh-huh.
people and just
Yeah.
talking about that. So I mean, it helps me kill two birds, one stone.
Well, you're not killing any birds, but consider this, Spencer. When you interview other people in the community, not only are you lifting them up by telling their story and making them more Googleable, but it's
Hmm.
sending more signal to you to rank better because Google can see, like, oh, this guy clearly is hanging out with a lot of people in Louisville. He's not
Right,
just, it's not some guy in India that's like making all these web pages using AI tools and they have no idea the different neighborhoods within Louisville, right?
right, right. Yeah,
They have
that
no
makes
idea
most
that
sense.
Indiana is just across the river there. It's so
Yeah,
close, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess let me get your take on this. I hear it a lot listening to the All In podcast and
Hmm.
just listening to these, industry leaders, I guess you would call them. What do you think about AI search engines kind of replacing like a Google? I mean, I know this isn't happening anytime soon, and I know they're trying very hard with Gemini to kind of claw their way back with OpenAI. What do you think about how to get in front of that if people do start using that for a search engine? I'm trying to think of one right now that people use. It's Perplexity. Um, what do you
Yeah, I know
think
people
about
have been
that
talking about that. Yeah, they're spending a lot of money on TV commercials saying they're going to kill Google search and all this.
yeah,
People have been saying this kind of stuff for a long
for
time.
years? Yeah.
And they've been saying even like when I remember when Google first came out, when I was a search engine engineer,
Hmm.
right, at Yahoo, people were saying this is going to kill Microsoft.
Yeah.
And then when Facebook came out, people said, "Oh, that's going to kill Google."
Right.
And then like all the AI stuff, "Oh, that's going to kill." Like everyone keeps thinking like the new thing, "Oh, TikTok's going to kill Facebook or whatever." Well,
Right.
it never happens that way because if you think about AI as a processing layer on top of search, the information still needed to be gathered and organized. Now, the AI, as you know, through an LLM, is really just a probabilistic word calculator, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't gather information and categorize information because I'm biased because I'm a search engine engineer, but I
Hmm.
see search engines as organizing the world's knowledge into what's
Hmm.
called the knowledge graph, which are all the things and how the things are connected and the facts about them. And search engines are about what's called the canonical. And the
Hmm.
canonical is the one source of truth. So the object that we looked up, Spencer, well, there's 36, however many other Spencers. And there's
Hmm.
information associated with this Spencer and that Spencer. How do we know which Spencer is which Spencer, right?
Right.
So that process of disambiguation of which facts are out, and there's a lot of people named Dennis Yu, right? How do you
Right.
know which one is what? And then if I'm connected to Tommy and Tommy's connected to A1 and A1's connected, like you see, like Google has to organize all that. And search engines are
Yeah.
designed to try to, and there's a lot of people trying to fool us at the search engines, trying to like, these SEO people are trying to trick the search engine, which makes it even harder to try to figure out
Hmm.
what's real, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So that layer, the way you organize your computation to do that is different than the GPUs that Jensen of NVIDIA is building for AI.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because, and this might, I have my next door neighbor, basically, she's the VP of AI for Google. And we've had
Wow.
dinner many times talking about this. We didn't record it because she wants to,
Yeah, that makes sense.
but she's got a huge team of engineers like you would not believe.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And her argument, which is biased but is also true, is that the LLMs suffer from making stuff up. They
Mm.
hallucinate because they don't
Yeah,
know what the truth is. They're just
not yet.
probabilistically calculating the next word. You understand it's all,
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's
understand an
how
LLM
LLMs work.
calculating words, okay?
Yeah,
It doesn't,
yeah, absolutely.
like it sounds like it's smart. It doesn't actually have any idea of what it's talking about.
Yeah,
The
not yet. It's
concept
not
of,
there.
so search engines, directories, crawlers, whatever you want to call them, are built on the idea of um, what is what is true about an object,
Hmm.
right? And adding information like the skeleton, adding meat to it, like and so the gathering and organizing of that information is an intermediate layer that then allows the assimilation, which is the AI, the processing, like taking the information and then Google does a search. What you do a search on Google and there's 10 blue links, right?
Hmm.
Well, then there's just another layer on top of that that then consolidates it into one answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the LLMs are doing right now. Because if you rip away that search layer, where are they getting their information from?
Yeah, they're nowhere. That's exactly where they're pulling it from
So
right
if
now.
you want to win in AI, because I was with a friend of mine and they told me, oh yeah, I asked ChatGPT or Bard or whoever, a query and they recommended you. Like, oh, who's the best person for, local SEO or something like that? And they recommended me, right? That's cool,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they said, Dennis, there's a whole category where we can sell services to be able to, rank in AI. And because AI is going to overpower Google. And now more people are going to talk to the AI than searching Google. So that's a whole new category. And we could sell all these services just like crypto and all this other nonsense. Every time something new comes up, all these experts come up and try to sell the thing, right?
Right, right.
And I said, you have got to be kidding me. A, what you're saying is, yes, there's people that are going to sell the thing, but because there's suckers that are going to buy it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But B, the way you win in AI is you make yourself Googleable because that's what feeds
Just
the
pulling
AI.
the data. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. As of right now, yeah, I think until we get to, I think the next step we are in AI is like super intelligence, where it can feed itself the own data instead of you having to prompt it. Which
Yeah.
it's kind of a touchy subject. But then the next one is like, it's something where pre pretty much it can start taking signals from an experience or situation and start to guess an outcome or something.
Well, it needs an input, and then there's the agentic piece. So those are the two sides. There's the brain, but the brain needs to be fed information, and then the brain needs
Mhm.
to be able to connect to taking action. So
Yeah,
those are the two sides that are missing. But the brain is basically AGI already. I mean, it
yeah,
needs increased memory. There's other things, run faster.
hmm
but the brain is basically there. It just needs
yeah,
both sides, right? It's
yep,
like the
yeah,
engine needs a transmission and a steering wheel, right?
yeah, 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 absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
like
it's
people said,
fascinating.
social media was going to kill search engines. Well, guess what? Social media, like Facebook and Twitter and all these guys, would not have been possible
Without
unless the
search.
information layer existed first.
Yeah,
Just because there's other layers on top doesn't mean the information layer is not relevant anymore.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think you're exactly right there. I think we'll see kind of like a refrigeration type of thing, whereas like refrigeration was built, but the people who built the refrigerators didn't make the most money. It was Coca-Cola, right? Where they figured out the
Because
use
it's
case of it.
layers on top. Because without the
Yeah,
electrical grid, all these other things can't happen. Without the
exactly.
supercharger network, you can't drive your Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. To kind of pivot a little bit, back to the content piece. I know we
Yeah.
talked about real photos, and I would imagine like any real photo I take on my phone is geolocated, correct?
It is. People want to argue about whether Google takes into account those signals. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's a real, authentic photo with real people. And then
Hmm.
Google's AI can categorize, oh, this is Spencer, this is Parker, this is
Right.
this particular, you understand, like through the recognition, it can
Yeah.
recognize like where you are
Yeah.
and who it is and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what about short term or short form content like videos,
Doesn't matter,
reels
short
and
form,
stuff?
long form, like whatever's the most helpful thing. Like if you just want to show like
Just content.
a day in the life and your guys are driving around and it's snowing or whatever it is, okay, like maybe that's a 15-second video, but some questions are maybe require an in-depth answer. So
Hmm.
maybe you do have to spend 5 or 10 minutes, right? And
Hmm.
so people, the same equivalent, like you're thinking like how long should the video be, is also the same question as, well, how long should the article be? As long
Hmm.
as is necessary to answer that question. So the
Hmm.
nature of the question dictates how long the answer needs to be, right?
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes plenty of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This has definitely been very helpful. So really, I should not worry about people saying, well, this headline needs to be this font and H1 and all this stuff that I've seen. Just content, content, content.
You've got to be kidding me.
That was actually in Tommy's group that I've seen all that.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people in Tommy's group, and they are just like getting bit by mosquitoes because they have no idea. I mean, I love these people to death, and they're all good people, and they all trust Tommy, but there's a lot of parasites and predators in
Oh
there
yeah,
that are
absolutely.
like have you seen like anytime someone says, "Hey, I'm a painter and I'm trying to, improve my marketing," and then all the vendors come in
Yeah,
and they say, "Oh yeah, you need
absolutely.
to use so and so," and I look at the list of people, I know a lot of these people.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
coach a lot of these people, and I'm thinking, you should not give a penny to so and so.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I see it a lot with a lot of different industries in there, branding and all types of things. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
exactly right. Like
Yeah.
vultures.
Yeah. I'm not saying, don't get a logo for your van, or don't use any of these particular vendors. I'm just saying that the ones that promise digital marketing or AI,
Hmm.
like 99% of them are fraudulent. I mean, there are still good Christian men that go to church on Sunday, but
Yeah,
they're incompetent.
yeah, yeah.
And
That
it's
makes
then they
sense.
think I'm offending them, and how dare I expose them, and it's libel and slander. I'm like, dude, we looked at your site. How do you argue with the stats on Golden Plumbing KY, or your garden? Like, Spencer, can we argue with the stats on gardenersplumbing.com?
You can't argue with numbers, no.
Okay, yeah, but we've been doing SEO for a long time when we were really good and all this and that. Yeah, but I looked at Spencer's site. How do you explain that? Oh, I'm going to change the
Hmm.
subject on you. You're a scam. You're just trying to cheat other people. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm just showing you what the stats are. Why are you
Yeah,
arguing?
yeah. It's funny because I've had a good amount of people on that side alone too. So the Gardener's Plumbing one. So um, it's very interesting. That's why I always try to seek information from a lot of different sources. So that way you can kind of find the truth, right? You
But
get to
isn't the
see
truth
different
blatantly
viewpoints.
obvious? Like, how many circles do you need to go around to see what's going on?
Yeah, it definitely is. Absolutely. What tool was that actually, by the way, that you pulled those sites from?
That's Ahrefs, but there's a lot of tools that do that kind of thing. I think if you get the basic sort of plan, what is it, Parker? Like $120 a month or something like that.
Hmm.
There's a super basic one that I think is $29 a month. And I mean, if
Okay.
you want to help other local businesses, you might as well just pay the $29, and you know, you can pull all these stats.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So in terms of okay, rebrand, I'm looking at this as almost a new business, even though we're still in the same market and we've been in business for 2 years. We haven't really targeted retail a lot.
But why are you rebranding? You have 30 years of experience under Gardner's Plumbing.
30 years of experience with the people, not under Gardeners Plumbing now.
Oh, okay.
So that's a 2 year business. That was
Okay.
more the people involved in the business
Okay.
with the experience.
But
So
why the rebrand?
the rebrand was really, uh, it was really me thinking that the way the market's going in terms of consumer psychology
Uh-huh.
would be more preferable to the Golden Plumbing like logo, like a friendly dog. Women make the decisions. Like this is going to appeal to women. Also,
Okay.
the Gardner name. So my dad he was a master plumber. He's owned
Right.
a plumbing quote unquote company for 15, 20 years. He's made
Right.
some mistakes where maybe that would keep me from doing business with people in the future,
Oh,
right?
so you just
So
want to start with a new name. All right.
yeah, my own thing.
Well, you realize you're not really losing anything by switching the name, at least from
It
from a
would
digital standpoint. You have nothing to lose because you never had
right.
any brand.
Right. Exactly. Would it go from 89 to 90 or 90 to 0.90 to 80?
Point nine rounds to zero.
Right.
I mean, if it's not at least 20, if you're not at least a few hundred keywords, you're zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So content, it needs to get real content. In terms of anything on like the back end side of a website. I mean, what else
We have
could
a
I
whole
do there?
guide on the plugins that you need. And if you have the content, then all the plugins and processes make sense. If you don't create the
Mhm.
content, all the stuff that we recommend doesn't. It's like having a gym with all the equipment. You never go. Well, what's the point?
Right.
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 But we have all the equipment. You just need to bring yourself and the
Right.
stuff we need.
Yeah. What is this? Where is this content or this? Is it
It's
like
every
a some
it's
type
it's
of?
part of what we call the content factory.
Mhm.
So we used to sell these things a la carte, like all the training. A lot of folks, they just, oh, we don't want, we're just going to pay you to do it. So then there's an agency retainer for that, which is 3,500 a month. Some people
Mhm.
do it just for a month or two while they're building in-house capabilities or hiring their own VAs. But some people, they just want to be able to learn or ask questions, or, like every now and then ask me a question or whatnot. And so we give access to our full library of everything that we do, all of our SOPs, which includes support. You can ask questions. So that's $297 a month.
Okay, yeah, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all.
So
So
I
you
think
work
it's
with
fair.
mainly VAs to do a lot of the stuff.
So we work mainly with the home service business owners to make sure the strategy is right, like what we talked about here. But then the
Hmm.
execution, we like to do with VAs. So initially, maybe you don't have any VAs, so you start with our VAs, but then our hope is that you would hire your own VAs. And VAs, you know, $500,000 a month full time. Don't split VAs. Don't hire VAs from a VA service. Don't hire freelancers because they come and go. You want a full time employee who works for you, who's paid for you, who works only on your stuff, right? And with 4 vans, you're big enough. You should definitely have probably 3 VAs, but start with 1.
I have 2. Yeah, I have 2 right now.
Great.
One of them's for AI though, like help me implement AI. One of them's a full time, like just kind of my assistant type of thing, and then I do have office stuff here in Louisville. So, I felt mine from Upwork, and then I kind of take them off of Upwork and use YPay and everything like that.
Right.
Online Jobs PH. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I'm very biased because my buddy John Jonas started it, and we've done so many trainings together on how to hire VAs the right way, and how the Filipinos are a different culture than other countries, and why there's advantages in the Philippines. He's got the world's largest marketplace of VAs. So Google his name or Google onlinejobs.ph and my name, and you'll see all these trainings pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Do you mind after we get off here sending me the link or something to the 297 or 237, whatever it was?
Yep, I will put it into our Zoom chat. There. Oops, why didn't it show? There it is. All right, so just to show you this, we made this as a no-brainer because some people would say like, oh, I bought your $1 a day course, or I bought this other thing, but it didn't include the thing on digital plumbing, or, you know, didn't include how to hire a VA. And we're like, okay, well, that's the course on how to hire VAs. And then people come in and they'll buy the course on how to hire VAs, and they'll say like, okay, I hired a VA, but now like, where's the $1 a day training and this other stuff? And then, well, that's another course. So people would just get, you know, and you could, these are all the top people in social media, digital marketing, and you can hear what they have to say, right? So month to month, there's no trying to upsell you or trick you into buying some other thing. Like, it's just literally exactly what it is. Access to all this stuff. And then every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, if you're VA or you want to share something, or you have a thing you want us to troubleshoot that's valid, like helpful for the whole group, then, you know, come in and do that. And so that's this thing we call office hours, which is this one. Parker and me are here, and you'll see this is the recording we just had an hour ago, right? And you'll see that there's a few hundred people in here. You'll probably recognize some of these people because you're in Tommy's group, so you know who these people are, right? And you'll see there's a mix of young adults and VAs and whatever that are doing the work, but mainly it's the workers that are doing the work, and then folks like us as business owners are kind of overseeing it, right? So you can see kind of like what people are talking about here, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. And you said in that it talks about the plugins and things needed for sites to.
Yep. Any kind of question, anything in digital marketing, there is a high probability, Spencer, that it's already been asked, and we probably have something for it.
Right. Yeah.
But if not, then we'll answer the question. But 99% chance you're not going to ask a question that hasn't been asked before.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. And would it be okay if every now and then I just reach out if I have questions and things like that?
That's the whole point of office hours, right? And then there are people like Tommy that are super VIP, where offline, and I'll see him for a day or two at a time.
Yeah. Tommy actually got blessed to meet him a couple times and get his phone number and talk to him, and it's been awesome. So
he's an abundance guy, and even though he's a big deal, he's super humble, and he never rubs it in your face that he's a big deal.
Yeah, no, never. He's a very good guy. Christ works through him, so it's awesome.
Yeah, he just gives selflessly, which is awesome. He's like a Romans 8:28 kind of guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's what my church studied the whole year is Romans. So it's good call there. But I appreciate it, Dennis. I really do. Yeah. Thank you so much for hopping on here and talking with me, Parker. Thank you for just kind of shadowing this call.
I should have shut up because he could have run this whole call himself. But
awesome.
You don't even need me because Parker's come from nothing in the last few years to being a pro.
Yeah, dedication.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I'm getting there.
We're all getting better. I'm learning every day too, this AI thing, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
But what we want to do, we want to pay it forward, Spencer. So we want everyone to learn how to do this stuff. And we love to share by direct example, not because I'm preaching it, but like we're literally working on your stuff. You're sharing what's working. You're interviewing other people that that are in Louisville, and then other home service businesses can see your example and be like, oh, this was all like this confusing magic to me. Now it actually makes a lot of sense what Google's looking for.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would love to turn this into an article that actually helps your DR point 0.9. I think an article for me or a few mentions would be a huge impact to your SEO. And we won't even charge for it. We'll process it. We'll link to you, tune up your Facebook. We'll link to your Facebook.
Hmm.
Right. And that's a legitimate like DR60, DR70 level backlink.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. And then you can do the same for other plumbers. You don't have enough juice to pass to other plumbers, but once you do, then you can start featuring them. And then then there's more juice to pass between everybody. Right.
The snowball gets bigger. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I will definitely do that. And I know we said either Plumbers or Louisville because it's kind of where the point meets, right?
Right.
Home service, do you think that is valuable, or if it's only in Louisville, home service?
No, home service is great. It's not as good as plumbers, but it's still within the category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you have like an Italian restaurant in Chicago, that's not as relevant, but it's still something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can still tie it together. You say, and that's my favorite Italian place in Chicago because they have deep dish pizza. But there's this
Right.
other place in Louisville that's almost as good, and then you're like
Mhm.
sort of making it relevant, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Valor in Louisville, Frankfurt Avenue.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. If you guys do that, or whatever I need to do with my Facebook for that link or that post, let me know. I don't use Facebook often. I don't use social media often. I guess that's my problem. But
No, that's not a problem. You don't have time. Like none of us have time to be on social media all day, except
Yeah.
the social media experts.
right.
But what
Right.
you have is you train up your VAs to do all this, and if they properly understand you, and if you train up the AI to understand who you are, then it's almost as good.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate it so much, guys. I really do.
Yeah, awesome, Spencer. So it'll take us probably a couple of weeks or whatnot to turn this into an article that honors you,
Mhm.
which also allows us to link to you to this current site that you have. And then if you sign up for any of these like SEO tools or whatever, we can run the reports. You'll see what the impact is to your rankings from having quality links. And then that flows as you build out these location service pages. When we pass you juice, all the location service pages will get a bump up, not just the page we link to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the site overall has more juice to flow down to the other pages.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense now. Yeah. I definitely learned a lot here. I definitely
Cool.
learned a lot.
Yeah. So I hope you join the office hours group because then you can ask questions in there and hang out with other local service business owners. Me, Parker, all these other folks are in there too.
Yeah. Is that after I get the 297 or
Yeah.
whatever it was? Okay. Yeah. I've sent myself the link already, so
Okay.
I have that, and yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out.
Yeah. And then you can also send your VAs through it as well,
Okay.
which is probably more
I have
valuable,
one
right?
she's amazing. I do pay her a little bit more. She's
Okay.
young. She's 23, has a degree. She lives starts with a B, Philippines, but she's amazing. And that's probably who is going to be doing that. I trust her very,
Like
very much.
Marquez or one of the islands in the Philippines.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's
Yeah, but I'd recommend anyone who's a full-time VA, not a contractor
full-time.
part-time. Yeah, anyone who's
Yeah.
full-time, it's worth investing in investing the time because when you sign up for office hours, that covers them as well. Then they can go through whatever the appropriate training is for what they're working on. Probably start with Content Factory.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the office hours is every Tuesday or Thursday?
It's every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific. But you can ask questions anytime in the Facebook group. You get access to all the training.
Yeah.
People talk about all kinds of stuff in the Facebook group. And some people think it's only the live, 2 p.m. every week kind of thing. Like, oh, I can't make it every Tuesday. I already have a full calendar. No, that's not like, it's like having insurance. You don't want to, it's nice to know like if your house burns down, you have insurance. You don't want to use the insurance if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. We're here to
I'll
help.
put-
But
yeah,
you
I'll
don't
put her
have you don't
through.
have to come. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was in SPG, so they're kind of the same way too. So yeah, that makes plenty of sense. And I'll talk with her tomorrow, set everything up, and get her kind of on board and understanding what needs to happen. And,
Cool.
I may reach out if I have a question too, just on that whole onboarding process, or
Yeah.
the best way to put her through this, right?
Well,
But
best way is she or you can send a note to Stephanie at blitzmetrics.com and saying, hey, I was a partner dentist, sign up for office hours. You know, I'm the VA supporting Spencer, and I want to learn the content factory, or I want to learn how to improve the website with SEO stuff, or I want to do whatever, right? And then we'll make recommendations. Otherwise, if you just come to our academy, and you'll see there's like 157 courses in there. It's like going to the library. You just, you're like, okay, where do I start now? There's too many things in here.
right, exactly. Okay, well, great. I will do that. I have Stephanie at blitzmetric.com.
At Blitzmetrics, plural. Yep.
Just got it. Got it. I have this down. Well, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a great day. Good weekend, and I will reach out if I have any issues or anything.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Spencer. We'll send you this link, the Zoom thing, when it's done. It'll take like 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. Talk soon.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.